Happy New Year, Bruce.
Happy New Year to you. Talk about this issue. Congress leaving town with this issue unresolved, and so many American families with an economic stake in this whole discussion and debate. What are your thoughts, and what can we expect?
Well, the good news is that the majority leader, at least in the Senate, says on Monday he thinks he has bipartisan support for extending unemployment insurance. The country has come out for this now. There's an overwhelming majority in the country for it. How could Congress have left during the season of brotherly love with unemployment insurance out for 1.3 million people on December 28th? And they left even though we came forward with a way to pay for it. Now, what makes this particularly angering is that there were two things that they were supposed to do they didn't do. One was to extend Medicare payments for doctors. They didn't do that, and they didn't do the unemployment insurance. Then at the last minute, there's an amendment on the floor for the Medicare payment for doctors. Good for us. We're for that. But these were paired. They left off the unemployment insurance. Now, each would have been only for 3 months. So the docs got it for 3 months. The 1.3 million got left out in the cold.
Were they doing that for political cover? Were they starting to hear from people back in the districts that this was an unacceptable way to leave things as they depart for the district? They've
sure heard from them now, because there's been a survey done of Republican districts, including John Boehner's district, where 60% of the about 2/3 of the people are for extending. No, I think nobody quite knew what was in this package. Remember, it came at the last moment. They did it because the House didn't want to do it, because the House didn't want to do the package in the first place. And John Boehner, for the first time since the Tea Party has come, actually got a majority of his members to support that package. I think he was afraid that if he put unemployment insurance in there, these Scrooges would have said no for the whole thing, and he wanted at least one win since he's been Speaker of the House. But who lost were, of course, the unemployed, and there are 3 million coming after them this year. But Bruce, bear this in mind. Most of the long-term unemployed, that's people unemployed for over 6 months, are people with skills. They are the ultimate victims of the Great Recession, and they are, we know, the victims of the Great Recession, because for every 3 of them looking for a job, there is 1 job opening. Who can blame them if these people, many of them with college educations, these are not your long-term unemployed people who we're always trying to get help for, trying to get more education for. Yes, they're included, but the reason we have so many, and they are more than 1/3 of the unemployed, the numbers went down. We were very pleased to see that the numbers for the unemployed went down the last count. I think that was the November count. But the long-term unemployed stayed where it was at 4.1 million.
You hear from some on the Hill and in the chattering classes that unemployment benefits cause people to look for work with less vigor, that it somehow sets up a dynamic where people can relax. They don't feel that pressure to get out and find the next job because a check is coming in, they're getting money, so it diminishes the urgency. It may make people lazy.
It's just the opposite. As long as you're on the unemployment rolls and getting a check, you're counted, and you can't get the check unless you show that you have been looking for work. Now, if you go off the rolls because there's no unemployment and you're just in the permanently uncounted, then you're going to slip onto the permanently unemployed or the disability rolls. I think I have a better idea, though, Bruce. I do think that to go through these fights after the longest recession since the Great Depression is counterproductive, and we keep having to do it. We know that we now have this large number of unemployed, and this is a very large number given the fact that we are in a recovery. it's become clear that employers are not going to hire you the longer you have been unemployed, regardless of your skills.
A stigma of being out of...
Kind of. And if they keep this up, their skills will atrophy. They haven't atrophied yet in 6 months. So I have a bill to give employers $5,000 against their unemployment, against their payroll, just a $5,000 tax credit, in order to encourage them to hire the long-term unemployed. Without that, I think you're going to see these numbers remain stable and indeed grow. That is a danger to the economy itself. We will lose 200,000 jobs if we do not increase unemployment insurance as soon